Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mark Clemens Postcards. Just a couple things here before we get started. I was really having a lot of glare on my glasses today when I was getting ready to do this video, so I decided to take them off, and that certainly helped the issue with the glare, but unfortunately, now you have to look at my ugly face. So I apologize for that. Maybe you could just cover the bottom right corner of your screen with a piece of paper or a paper towel or something, or just try to avert your gaze from down there. And hopefully you can make it through this video without being too put off by my face. And I also apologize for this video being a day late. My wife and I decided yesterday to take a little last-minute trip to go enjoy ourselves for a day, and that's yesterday was the day I would have normally put my video out, but didn't have time to do that, so I'm doing it today. But as a result of taking that day off yesterday, I did manage to go find some new postcards that I purchased, and I'm going to show you the results of that in an upcoming video. But today we're here to take a look at the sales for last week. And as always, eBay continues to be a roller coaster. But we keep riding that baby, and I recommend same for you. It has its ups and downs, but all in all, it's a fun ride. So let's take a look at what happened on my roller coaster. So for this past week, we had $835.03 in total sales, and that was up over 150% from the week before, which is amazing. I had 104 total items sold, which is, let's see, about 117% higher than the prior week, which is also amazing. And my average sale price was at $8.03, which was up about 16% from the week prior. So all in all, a great improvement over the week prior. And but that's how things go. Some weeks are up, some weeks are down. Let's see what makes up this past week of sales. First off, we have a view in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is the Eden Park Elsinore entrance. And you can say it looks like a big castle there. It is a white border card. It is unused. And that one sold for $5.95. Then we have St. Bridget's Catholic Church in Maynard, Massachusetts. This is a divided back view. It's got a little bit of a few issues here. Got some foxing there on the back. And as you see up here in the top left corner, got a little bit of paper missing there. But nonetheless, that card sold for $5.95. Next up, we have the Masonic Temple in Anaheim, California. This is a white border era card, and it is posted in the 1920s, but that card I had listed for $7.95. Someone made me an offer of $5, which I accepted. As I took another look at this card while I was considering their offer, it does have a little bit of wear, got some corner bumps and edge wear. So taking that into consideration, I accepted their offer of $5. Then we have a view in Mount Clemens, Michigan, no relation to me. This is a winter scene on Lake St. Clair, and it looks like we have a lot of ice boats doing some ice sailing, it looks like, on the lake there. It is an undivided back card. It was posted in 1909. That one sold for $5.95. Then we have a view in Yellowstone National Park. This is the Old Faithful Inn. And you can see this card has sort of a reddish tint. I wouldn't call it sepia tone, but I don't know what else you would call that. An interesting, unusual reddish tint. This also is an undivided back card. This one was posted in 1904, so that's getting back there a little bit. This one I had listed for $7.95, and I took an offer, I think it was $6 on that card. Here's a neat real photo. This is a group of painters, at least that's what appeared to me. They all have brushes in their hand, and I see a can of paint back here. Looks like they're working on some construction project, but they took the time to take a pose for a picture here. So it is a divided back real photo card. As you can see better on this side, I got a little piece missing in the top right corner, and which will be over here, and no writing or address or anything, so we have no idea where these guys are, but it's still a cool occupational card, and that one sold for $9.95. Here's a neat fire department card. This is the Flying Squadron Fire Patrol in Manchester, New Hampshire. Pretty neat card with the old fire engine there and all the firemen lined up on it, going to a fire, I assume. It is a divided back card. You can see it was not posted, but somebody wrote on the back, and it has a number 2 up here, which tells me this message was written on a series of cards numbered 1 through whatever in order to give you the correct order when you were reading them. But the beauty of the card here is on the front. Neat fire department card, and this one sold for $9.95. I think I took a little bit of an offer on that, and this buyer also bought another card, but I'm not showing that to you right now. We're moving on to the next thing. This is a paper moon card. These have gained a lot of popularity, seems like, over the past couple of years. Here we have 2 women holding a baby. If you look closely at these women, they look, if I could zoom in on that, doesn't seem to want to zoom in. There we go. If you take a closer look at these women, they look like they could be twins. So I'm assuming that they are sisters, and the baby must belong to one of them, I guess. And anyway, it's a cool paper moon view. That one was an auction. I had that up for auction starting at $79.95, and it got 1 bid for that amount. Here's a fold-out postcard. This is a view of the Woolworth Building in New York City. At the time, the Woolworth Building was the highest in the world. This card was posted in 1912. And you can see there, got a message on the back, your address over here. A little bit of information about the Woolworth Building here. Neat fold-out postcard. That one sold for $7.95. Next, we have a buyer who bought 4 postcards, and see if you can identify what it is that they collect by what they bought here. First, we have the view in Detroit, Michigan. This is the new bathhouse at Belle Isle. Nice view there. This is a Detroit photographic card. It is unused, and it's a little difficult without looking up the number or looking into a book or something about Detroit publishing. This appears to be a white border card, but it could be a little older than that. It could be divided back. A lot of their cards had white borders even in the divided back era. But nonetheless, that view sold for $5.95. Same buyer, another view. This is in Mount Clemens, Michigan. This is the Clementine Bathhouse. And you can see this is a divided back era card. It was posted in 1908. That one sold for $7.95. Still in Mount Clemens, Michigan, another view, different view of the Clementine bathhouse. That is a divided back card, but unused on that one. Just a quick view, same bathhouse, two different views there. And then lastly, same buyer, this one, Mount Clemens, Michigan again, the Olympia bathhouse, divided back card, posted in 1912. And if you guessed that this buyer might collect bathhouses, please go to the head of the class. I think you're right. Anyway, one buyer, 4 cards. I don't have the total on that, but you can add that up for me. Next up, we have a view in Silverton, Colorado. It just says general view, and you can see the town spread out there looking at it from a distance. This, again, is a Detroit photographic card. It's undivided back, unused. And as you can see, I just made reference to that. This is clearly an undivided back era card. But if you look at the front, you could think, hey, that looks like a white border. And you'd be right that it looks like that, but it's actually older than white border era. Next up, we have a view in Wysocks, Pennsylvania. And that is the question, why socks? Why do we wear socks? I don't know. But this is the Alice Home for Tourists. A nice white border card again. Taking a look at the back, we can see it was unused. And this one sold for $5.95. Here we have a buyer who bought multiple cards, and I chose to look at them this way. We have, first up, I think they bought 9 cards. First one here is boating on Lake Alameda Park, which was an amusement park in Butler, Pennsylvania. There you can see boats on the water. Then we have Fairview Avenue, Springdale. I guess that's a section of town in Butler, Pennsylvania. Again, that one posted in 1907. Here we have the ME Church in Butler, Pennsylvania. Unused, divided back card. And the theme here is obviously Butler, Pennsylvania. Here we have another church, the German Lutheran Church in Butler, Pennsylvania. Divided back, unused. Back to Alameda Park. This is the Lover's Retreat. A divided back card. That one was posted. Alameda Park again, just kind of a general view of the lake and the pavilion. A divided back card. That one was posted 1915. Couple more here, same buyer. This is the second UP Church in Butler, PA. Divided back card. The writing on the back, but doesn't appear that it was actually mailed. Then we have the Country Club and Grounds in Butler, PA. Looks like some men hitting some golf balls over there. And lastly, another view in Alameda Park. This is the railroad station and the pavilion. That card is divided back. It is unused. And so for that buyer, we had a total of 9 cards for $51.55. So a very nice sale there. Next up is a card that basically just has a painting on it. This painting is called Fur Traders Descending the Missouri, and the artist is George Caleb Bingham. This, if we look at the back here, we see this is this card was put out in conjunction with a stamp that was being issued by the U.S. Post Office that featured that very same painting. And that card was, or that stamp was issued in 1990, the same time as this card. And this card is really not that old, nor is it even an actual scene. It's just a reproduction of a painting. but I thought it was interesting nonetheless, and it sold for $4.95. Here is a view of what I call your generic greeting card. This scene here on the card could have been taken anywhere, but the card says greetings from Clairton, Pennsylvania. And having been to Clairton, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh, I feel pretty confident in saying this scene is definitely not in Clairton, Pennsylvania. But many of these cards were put out with just a generic scene, and it would say greetings from some town or another. And they actually, although they seem to be kind of toss-away cards, they are really pretty collectible. This is a chrome arrow one, and you can see it was not used, but it sold for $7.95. Anytime I see these generic greetings, as I call them, I pick them up if they are reasonably priced. Here is a ballet dancer. This is a card from a series of cards featuring ballet girls, as you can see down there at the bottom. It is undivided back. It is unused. And this would be what I would call from a set or series of cards. That one sold for $5.95. Then we have some potatoes. This is the Northern Pacific Railway Great Big Potato, and it is dated 1912. That's when it was posted. If you look on the back, it says the Northern Pacific Railway originated the Great Big Baked Potato as a special feature of their dining car service in 1909. These potatoes are famous for their size and quality. So obviously these potatoes here, as you see them, were served in the dining cars of the Northern Pacific Railway, and I guess they got to be quite popular. And a little sign here says $1. I guess that's what they cost. And I thought that was a pretty interesting card. And that one sold for $9.95. Here's a real photo view. This is a view on the Lincoln Hoighway in Pennsylvania. It says Sidling Hill Mountain on the Lincoln Hoighway. You can see mountain in the background there. Looks like a car here way far away in the distance. Kind of a pretty rural area there we're passing through on the Lincoln Hoighway. That is a real photo postcard. It was posted in 1948. And that one sold for $9.95. Next up, we have a view in Elkton, Ohio. This is the Y&O Railroad and the Great Elkton Bridge. Here you can see the railroad tracks, and they've got a curved bridge going around here, and it just kind of disappears off behind the trees here. I don't know how much further the bridge extends, or if the end of it is right over here. Can't really tell, but a pretty cool railroad bridge there. That card is divided back. It is unposted. And that one sold for $7.95. What's up next? We got Mount St. Helens. This is a series of photos of Mount St. Helens as it erupted in 1980, on May 18th, 1980. And if you look here, we'll get in a little closer. This is a fold-out card, or a folder, if you will. I think these cards were perforated so that you could remove them. Yeah, you could, tear them off and use them individually. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different cards, but this particular set was intact. Nobody had taken them apart. And so it's interesting as you look at the photos. Here we see no sign of the eruption at this moment. Next photo, we see some action taking place. There's some smoke and activity, and it just increases as we go down through the photos until we have the full-blown volcanic eruption there. And here on this one in the corner, we see looks like an RV of some kind. So don't know if that RV or who was in it survived this blast, or if they turned tail and got out of there. I don't know. But that's a huge pile, or a huge cloud of smoke headed this way. And I remember when that erupted, that it affected the entire planet with the amount of dust and ash that was put into the air. So this is an interesting set of cards that commemorates that volcanic eruption at Mount St. Helens in 1980. And that set sold for $8.95. Here we have the School for the Blind in Nebraska City, Nebraska. And it is a nice divided back card. It was posted in 1917, and it's sold for $8.95. Here we have a view at the Panama, California Exposition. This buyer bought two of these cards. This first one here, you can see divided back. Obviously, this expo was in 1915. It is unused. This one features the east entrance to the Commerce and Industries Colonnade. The expo was in San Diego. That one sold for $4.95. Next card, same buyer, again, Panama, California Expo, San Diego, California, 1915. This is the Ethnology building showing the California towers in the background. And that one also sold for $4.95. It was unused. Here we have a view in Kings Canyon National Park in California. These are the Grizzly Falls. And if you look on the back, you will see that information about the park and the falls. But the important thing here is this Fred Harvey logo. Anytime you see Fred Harvey on the back of a card, you might want to consider picking that one up if it's reasonably priced. A lot of collectors like to collect cards that were published by or for Fred Harvey restaurants, hotels and restaurants, popular at one time. So keep an eye out for that logo. That was a Chrome era card, and that one sold for $4.95. Here's a view in Silver Springs, Florida. It says beauty above and below. And here you can see a boat on the water and a lovely woman swimming below the water there. This is no doubt one of the glass bottom boats where you could take a ride and see all the things in the water beneath the boat there. And that probably included this swimmer here. But this is a nice linen era card, a colorful card. You can see on the back, this one was posted in 1952. And that sold for $4.95. Here's a view in Clinton, Iowa. This is the steamer WW Excursion. I guess that's the name of the boat, Excursion. An excursion boat called the Excursion. And this card was posted in 1914, a divided back card. Nice view of a steamboat there. Sold for $5.95. Here's a space-related postcard. This is astronaut John Glenn Jr. You can see him here all suited up, ready to go somewhere. Chrome era card. It was not posted. And that one sold for $5.95. I believe the same buyer also bought a second card. This is a view in Rome City, Indiana. These are the Mineral Springs at Night Sanitarium. And we can see this is an undivided back card. Got some shadowing there. No doubt, obviously, it was in an album for a long time. And we have some discoloration, but not as much as where the corner tabs were. Same thing feature we can see on the front, kind of the opposite, where it was in the album is a little darker than the face. And here we have some gentlemen standing by the springs. You could see the water there coming out. And down here it says, "This water does everyone good. Red cheeks, pure blood are understood." So I thought that was a pretty interesting card. I put that one up for $19.95, and that's what it sold for. Here's another national park view. This is a view of the lower falls at Yellowstone National Park. There's so many national park cards, particularly Yellowstone National Park, and this is just one of thousands of different views. This particular set was numbered, and down in the left corner in each card it said YP. I assume that meant Yellowstone Park. Number 78, that's what this one was. It's a white border card, unused, and it sold for $5.95. We're now in Indiana, Pennsylvania. This is the new Indiana Hotel. Nice view there. A divided back card. This one was posted in 1909. And as a side note, this was published by Raphael Tuck, which was in Great Britain, or England, as they would say in those days. A view of the hotel there in Indiana. That one sold for $5.95. Here's a nice linen view. This is Caroline Street, part of the shopping section in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Kind of your typical linen era street scene. Lots of old cars, storefronts, signage, everything. Nice clean card, unused. Sold for $5.95. Here's a view of the New York Central Freight Yards. New York Central Railroad being that, in West Springfield, Massachusetts. And you can see the yards are full of freight cars there. Looks like some have coal, and can't tell what's in these other ones. But lots of them lined up there. It appears to be a white border era card. It is unused, and that one sold for $5.95. Railroad-related cards do well, not just trains, but depots and rail yards and railroad bridges and just about anything associated with railroads, including, if you will remember a few minutes ago, baked potatoes. Here is a nice view. This is Market Street looking east in Katanning, Pennsylvania. A divided back card is unused. And if we look a little more closely, we can see a trolley coming down the middle of the street, which was typical in a lot of your early 1900s towns and cities. That was a main source of transportation other than horse and wagons. And that card sold for $9.95. And lastly, for today, we will end this part of the video with this item. This is a lot of 100 assorted mixed era U.S. towns, states, and views. I sell a lot of these 100 card lots. Here we see the Stockyards in Chicago, Hotel Cumberland, Maryland, Amusement Park White City in Chicago, Detroit, Michigan, Pittsburgh, PA. Looks like Chinatown, I don't know, maybe San Francisco. Library in New York City. There's a some kind of a cable car, and so on. There's a view in Harrisburg. There's a ship in New York City. Charleston, West Virginia. Some ladies on the beach in Florida, Pennsylvania, and so on. Nice assortment of cards there. That lot of 100 cards sold for $21.95 plus shipping. So that's all we have today. I sold many more cards, as we talked about at the beginning, over 100 cards. But I had put out quite a bit of offers on some cards. Some older cards that I had in the store, I put out some offers of 50% off, and I sold quite a bit of cards at that price. So I had a lot of low value cards, but hey, they all added up, as you could see, over the week. And so they made up a part of our sales for the week. But that was it for what sold. So let's take a look at something else.
Time once again to hit the road, the Lincoln Highway to be exact, as we continue our journey eastward across the state of Pennsylvania. There are many interesting sights to see along the way, so let's get going. I'll race you to Bedford.
We are indeed going to continue our journey across the state of Pennsylvania on the Lincoln Highway. If you remember the last time we looked at some of my Lincoln Highway cards, we were in the town of Schellsburg. We had looked at the old shot factory building and also the long-lost amusement park of Storyland. And now we're continuing eastward, headed toward Bedford, Pennsylvania. As you see this card here, this is one of a number of different elevation type cards that showed the changing elevation along the Lincoln Highway as you headed eastward or westward, as the case may be. And it also pointed out a lot of roadside attractions and points of interest along the way. This one here in particular was published in the Mohawk Hobbs Guide in 1926. This one was produced by a photographer by the name of Gherkins, who took a lot of photographs along the Lincoln Highway. Here we are on the far left. This one starts at Bedford, and we're not quite to Bedford yet. We'll be getting there shortly. And as you continue across, you can see it points out towns like Everett and Breezewood and Harrisonville and McConnellsburg, Fort Loudon, and eventually this particular elevation card ends at Chambersburg. And I have another one here just to show you. This one is a little less loaded down with information as the previous one. This one again was published by the photographer Gherkins in 1937, so 11 years later, and they've simplified it a little bit, although the elevations of the mountains haven't changed. Here we're starting at Bedford and going eastward to Chambersburg, and they're pointing out some of the landmarks or interesting sites along the way, and we will be visiting those as we head across the state. So just something to kind of show you what there is to look forward. This card here says the Curve of Beauty, 8 miles west of Bedford. So we're 8 miles west of Bedford, PA at this point. And you can see the sharp curve in the road. A lot of Route 30 has been reconfigured over the years to eliminate some of the sharp bends and some of the dips and obstacles, so to speak, in the road. I don't know for sure what the case is with this curve here, but I wouldn't doubt if this curve had been straightened out a little bit to make the road a little safer and more drivable. This is a divided back card here that was posted in 24, and it's a hand-colored version. Next up is a neat point of interest. This is a real photo. This is Hillcrest at the top of Toll's Hill, as it says on here, 7 miles west of Bedford. And you can see, zoom in a little bit, they have Atlantic White Flash gasoline. There's a sign for Route 30 right here. Here's another sign down here for Amico. Here it says Hotel Lincoln. This building right here. I don't think I have a card for that. But here at Hillcrest, as you can see, the sign on top of the building, you've got lots of different gas pumps and a sign for beer. And this photo was, let me zoom back in here. This photo was done by Rock, the photographer Rock in Somerset, PA. And at this point in time, this building was called Hillcrest, but the next view is the same building, and I think it's a little bit after the one we just looked at here, and it has changed hands, and it is now Russ's Place. As you can see, the sign on top of the roof has been replaced. It is now Russ's Place. They still have Atlantic Gas here and all the gas pumps. In fact, it looks like they have more gas pumps than they did before. There's your Route 30 sign over there. And there's the building. No doubt you could get food and drink there. So we've gone from Hillcrest to Russ's Place, but it's the same building. But at this point, we are 7 miles west of Bedford. So continuing eastward. Here's a card I just threw in here. On the back of this card, this just shows a woman posing by an old automobile, and there's a gentleman in the driver's seat. So maybe a passenger of that car took this picture, or somebody they happened to meet on the road took it for them. It says on the back, this card wasn't mailed, but it has a little note on the back. It says, "This is a very steep highway, but we had to cross it to go east." And the card says, "Right soon," signed Deborah. And it also has a little note that says, "On the mountains near Bedford, PA, 1932. So we can assume that they are somewhere in the vicinity of Bedford. And so I just thought that was a neat card, not a card identified as Lincoln Hoighway, but clearly is one that was just in someone's personal collection. You could have easily overlooked this as just a family photo, but fortunately, because of the message on the back, we're able to locate this on the Lincoln Hoighway. As we continue on, here we see a view similar to the other one, the Lincoln Hoighway west of Bedford. We can see some old automobiles. Now, at this point, this road is just 2 lanes, and large sections of it are just still 2 lanes to this day. But here we see 2 cars headed in the same direction. So I'm going to have to assume that this car on the left is passing the car on the right. I don't know if that's a safe place to do that or not, but that must be what it's going on, because it was not 2 lanes in the same direction. But that is another divided back card. That one wasn't used, and it is also a hand-colored version. Next card is very interesting. This is the Ye Old Tavern and Barbecue, 7 miles west of Bedford. And this is a real photo view, and a lot to see there. Here is the Ye Old Tavern. You see some old automobiles parked out front, and a lot of activity. There are lots of cars to see, some people walking along the road. A little further down the road, we see what must be a gas station. I see signs for gas and some gas pumps down there. So pretty busy scene here. And a very nice real photo postcard. That one was not posted. Continuing on, we are back to a similar scene of like this card back here. But we are now 7 miles west of Bedford, and we can see the road is still very similar to what it was before. It hasn't changed much. It appears to be just gravel or something. I want to say dirt road, but gravel. I don't know if that's actual paved or not. And we have to see a car headed our direction. Next up is the Old Forks Inn. And this is an old inn and restaurant that has been at this juncture for many years. It says located at the junction of Route 30 and 31, 4 miles west of Bedford. You can see the sign up here for Old Forks Inn. But this Old Forks Inn is currently known today as the Jean Bonnet Tavern, and it is still in operation today as an inn and restaurant, and it's kind of a popular place just outside of town of Bedford. If you were in the area, you could still stop by and get something to eat. As I said, it's still a pretty busy, popular place today and looks very much like this, other than it as the sign has changed. Continue on, and we're seeing kind of a pattern here with these country scenes here. We are now 3 miles west of Bedford, and you can see the road stretched out into the distance with, again, a couple more old automobiles on it. This particular card was posted in 1928, and it's one of the same series, a lot of these hand-colored cards of the highway. Here is the Greenland Lodge and Cabins, 3 miles west of Bedford. And you can not see a lot here because of all the trees, but you can tell that there's a row of cabins here. A little better view here of the cabins at Greenland Lodge. This card says 2.5 miles west of Bedford, where this one here told us it was 3 miles. So it's somewhere between 2.5 and 3 miles. A little bit closer look at some of those cabins. Nice real photo view. This one was posted in 1946, to give you an idea of the time frame there. Another nice real photo view, again at the Greenland Lodge, and looking at these cabins, or some of the cabins there. And here's another multi-view at Greenland Lodge. Here you see cabins on the left, and then the upper right there we have a little inn there where it says dinner, sandwiches, milkshakes, sundaes. Got a Greenland Lodge cabin sign, dinners, Coca-Cola. So lots to see in that view. Located west of Bedford on US Route 30, just 3 miles from Shawnee Park. And we're still at Greenland Lodge. I have quite a few different cards of this particular stop. Again, a view of some of the cabins in the trees there. And a nice real photo. Now, as we're getting close to Bedford, we can start to see it coming into view. Here we are looking from a little bit of a distance, and we can see some of the buildings peeking up above the landscape there. This is a white border era card, so again, we're, like in the 20s and 30s, early 30s here. Now you have a real photo view of a view as we get closer to Bedford, and we can see actually coming into town here, and you can make out the houses and things. This one particular card was posted, but I cannot see a date on it. But again, I would say we're probably in the 1930s here. And as we come into town, we are on well, I'm not sure what street we were on. Let's assume we are on Route 30 itself. We're coming into Monument Square, and it is just a couple blocks from the Hoffman Hotel, which was a very famous and popular hotel in Bedford. Another view of the monument here. We are on Juliana Street here, looking south. And we can see the monument there. So I'm not sure if we're looking at this from a different direction or not. But there's two nice views of the monument. And as we continue to come into town, here we are on West Pitt Street, which is the Lincoln Hoighway in Bedford. And this is a real photo view. This one was posted as well. But you can see some stores along the street there. The street appears to be a dirt street at this time. Looking in a little closer here, there's a sign for telephone. This looks like a little general store on the right. I can see its signs further down. I see Union Hotel, Steckman House. There's a horse-drawn wagon way down the street there. On this side, we see, says Pennsylvania Hawkeye Publishing Company. That's interesting. And another telephone sign. Next up is another view looking west on Pitt Street, which is the Lincoln Highway. This is a little bit more modern view, a white border era card. And you can see now we have some automobiles where the previous one had a horse-drawn wagon. Now we have some antique automobiles. Here's Hotel Pennsylvania here over on the left. Coffee room, soda and grill. Some other signs that we can't quite read there. There's some barber poles here. So there's some of the things going on in Bedford. Another view on East Pitt Street, and this one's a little bit more modern. More of a chrome era car. You can see the newer style of cars on the street. And here we have more signs that we can see. This is a fashion shop here on the left. And if we look on the right, we see what looks like a department store. That looks like Rexall Drugs and some other things as we go on down the street. Probably with a magnifying glass you could read most of these, but I can't quite make them out with just my poor eyesight. And then this next and last card is the same street. We're still looking east on Pitt Street. This is the same view a few years more on, and you can see this building here and this view on the right. This is the same building that we have here on the right in this one. This is a chrome era card, and we've probably come forward another decade. Yeah, and that sign I couldn't read on the other one says, oh, I'm sorry, I said Emma. This is Enna, energetic. Like a play on the word energetic, I guess, shoes. That's what that sign says, and there's your Rexall sign. Here's a hotel down here. Lots more signage, some people on the street there. A busy day, Washington Coffee Shop, Frigidaire Appliances down here. The Barton Shop. So, a busy day there in Bedford. And we have arrived in Bedford, obviously. We're in the downtown area. There's a lot more things to look at in Bedford. That is not only the cars, but we'll have to continue that on until the next time we look at Lincoln Highway. So I do thank you for taking a look at these. I hope you enjoyed them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It helps us to get a little bit more noticed on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do that too, for the very same reason. More subscribers we have, the more likely we are to be seen by other people. And please leave a comment if you have anything to say. And as always, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.